Hawk, Herc, roll 20-sided.
Right. Nat 20.
3.
Both of you are about to be in combat.
All right.
Herc, you do not want to be there. You are not as good as your father. In fact, you look over at him, and he does something that unnerves you. When you look over at him, he is behind a tree. He has both his axes out, and he fades in and out of view. And it is unnerving watching him do that. And you brought it up with him once, and he totally dismissed you. Like most dwarves, he is totally distrustful of magic, and this could be nothing but magic. He literally is fading in and out of view as if he's visible and invisible. You are 40 feet away behind another tree. Your Wolverine, Baraz, who's done this before, is off in the distance, but you know that he will come. In front of you are orcs. You know that there are many different types of orcs. These orcs are what you would call orc scout. They are fell. They're armed with bows. They're lightly armed and armored, but they tend to be much stronger and much faster than your normal orc and much more intelligent and better in the forest. And they are sneaking towards you. They don't know they've been spotted, but just by the way they move, you know that they're good. They have their bows out, 3 arrows in one hand, their bow in the other, crouched down, going from foliage to foliage. All of a sudden, both of you hear a growling. Roll 20-sided one more time.
8.
I'm not even kidding. Another nat 20.
You know that your Wolverine has been spotted by the orcs, but they're so good, they don't turn like this. They turn eyes first, and then slowly.
I shoot at the lead. If they're going after Baraz, I shoot at the lead.
Roll 20. Poof! She goes off, half cocked. You meant for this Wolverine to distract them so that you could sneak up on them and go. She's fired.
I'm ready for the
You charge.
Nat 1.
She misses. The orcs don't even turn. Bam! They run right at her. Oh! She drops her bow and drops back out of instinct, but you are charging. They see you, drop their bows, the swords come out. You charge them. 1-1, like this, in tandem, and they look like they fought together before. The first one swings at you.
17.
You lock him up, but the second one is coming on your flank, just like they've rehearsed this a million times before. Double orc scout in tandem. The other one goes low for your leg, but this axe has been locked up.
Can I scream for my raven to go after the eyes of the one?
She screams for her raven. Their eyes! Their eyes! Roll 20.
I want to swing under the hamstring.
Okay, give me a roll.
Oh, 5. He's on 20 flying.
You try to unlock your axe. He hits your leg. No damage, but he kind of throws you off balance. It just angers you. But they both come together in perfect synchronicity. You throw up your axes. Roll 20-sided again.
13.
Ching! You lock them both up. You just see a look of surprise come on their face. And it just both at once, they withdraw. They step back and they're circling you. Going to either side.
Can I, while they are focused on my father, try to come up behind one and hit him with my hammer?
You start to sneak around. There is no sneaking right now, and that's not your game. So you see that immediately one of them sees you, and to your shame, dismisses you. And you see his eyes go to you, and then he just looks right back to him, and you're like, oh. I'm not sure if that's good or bad, but you are moving forward with your hammer. You will be there in a moment.
That one I throw an axe at its face, and the other one.
Roll 20.
18.
You see the orc, he was looking at you, and he looks back to him, and you just see an axe go thunk, and he drops. The other guy, and then this is for the other, with your other axe, woof, you go for the head. Roll 20 one more time.
It was a 20.
Boosh! You hit him. He just withdraws back. He's almost off balance, but he regains it.
Can I realize that they're not going to. The weapons aren't working well, and I want to throw myself at his feet so he trips over me. As he's
Roll 20.
4.
You see her lunge at his feet. It's an interesting move, but she comes up short. Oof! He comes up short. Oof! Oh, on the ground, and you see him. Woof! Go down with the sword.
Did it hit? I'm gonna come underneath, cut his arm.
Roll.
8.
He sees you coming and locks up your axe. Ching! The sword bounces away. He's just astounded at your strength, but then he comes right back down again. He is fast.
I'm gonna try to move out of the way and cut him.
Brass!
18.
It's like, he gives you a haircut. But the thing is, he spins his sword, it comes right back. He's going to slit your throat. Roll 20 sided.
8.
He hits you.
Oof.
You're going to take 19. God.
Father! And I yell, Brass! To go after his arm.
I grab my throat.
Okay.
His face.
He doesn't quite hit your throat. It does go through. You don't have a whole lot of armor. 8 goes through, but you are not a human. You have double that. Okay? You're hurt, but you're still in the fight. It would have killed any of you. It would have killed the human. You charge again. Roll 20 sided.
Yeah, I'm calling for Baraz to try to go after this thing too. 15.
You feel an energy just well up from the earth into you. All of a sudden, you're at pluses. That is called an earth meld. All of you can put it on your paper. It's just something that you have, something that happens in combat.
Okay.
Anytime you tell me something like I plant my feet, I scream a war cry, whatever, I think earth melt.
Mm-hmm.
You don't, because you just don't think that you're magic. You don't think you cast spells. But anytime you clue me off like that, that's what happens. You instantly have a damage barrier, you're at pluses, you're stronger, and you have magical mass, and you charge. Roll 20.
I rolled a 15 before.
You did.
Do I roll it again?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. 15 again.
You charge and push the orc. You don't expect this. Dwarves don't move fast. They're not fast runners, but they are incredibly strong. But you put your hands into the orc, and it's like he gets hit by a horse. He just goes tumbling. He loses his sword. He gets up, and he's wide-eyed. Like, this fierce orc, you can tell, has no idea what just hit him. He looks at you both and runs.
Throw an axe at him.
You throw your axe. Roll 20.
And I'm going to try to retrieve my crossbow because it's on the ground.
Natural 20, but not in the box.
Whoosh! You throw, put on your paper, affinity with throwing axes, and you just brain him. His corpse falls to the ground and slides. You see your Wolverine kind of look at you and just shake his head. Like, what on earth just happened? Just with total disgust. Your Raven comes and lands on your shoulder. You are... you're hurt, but you fresh. Just blow it off. You're a dwarf. You know, you've seen worse, you've had worse. You'll heal.
Boy, grab the other one. My axe. Bring him here.
Yes, Father. He runs off to do as he's told.
You have no idea why your son has just done this. You guys have done this before. The Wolverine distracts the orcs. You go in and kill them. Easy peasy. Your son has always had an affinity for animals, but this time it almost got him into trouble. Almost got you into trouble.
Did I notice the sort of earth melt happen?
Yes, and you are proud, which shows he's a true dwarf. You are saddened in a way because you've spent your whole life trying to train your son, and he has not taken to it. And you hope that not only does he have abilities that will come to the fore and help the kingdom, but they are abilities that you will come to respect, but you have not formed them yet. And you
says, clean them off the way he taught me. Take an extra moment to sort of center myself and scratch my Raven. Just look at him and say, they were going after him. the raven.
It doesn't matter now. There is another raven. He has come.
What?
He's in the raven loft. He has doom. In another raven with doom. You have no idea what that means, but then your raven flies off.
I bring these back to you, my head bowed. Set them before you.
You're a good boy, but sometimes try to be a bit too creative.
They had spotted Karaz. They spotted him, and they were about to fire upon him.
We've done this before.
I know we've done this before, but never in a situation in which they had you in their sights.
You trust me?
Yes, Father.
You trust him.
Yes, of course, Father.
Let him do his job.
But apparently there's another raven here, and he bears a doom.
Baraz takes 3 steps back. The word doom is weighted amongst your people. The dwarves take everything way too seriously, and a doom is the most serious kind of responsibility that can be given. A raven with a doom, that's happened a few times in history, and it's like something that makes the books.
So is it meaning that it has a message for someone?
Probably, but the message is so important, it was given a doom to give that message.
Before we go to it, well, let me at least try to see to your wounds. I know, but if there's a doom, I mean, perhaps he will need to be at our best.
Find out about the raven.
Yes, Father.
Check with your friends.
I mean, is that?
I saw you.
Tell me what?
In the field.
Feel what?
The vigor of combat came upon you.
Father, what I felt was fear that you were about to die.
You didn't see what you did.
I'll go see
He's
you.
hopeless. Your Wolverine shakes his head and trots off.
Trust yourself more.
Yes, of course, Father. I'm going to turn and go towards the raven loft.
Your instincts, boy. Follow your instincts.
Just muttering to himself, just go away from combat.
3 fate, 2 fate. Dave, roll 20-sided.
12.
You are in the main forge. This is where you belong. You are a blacksmith of note. In fact, go ahead and roll 20-sided.
13.
You are an 8th level smith. And you are a 9th level smelter. Now, the smelting is almost more important than the blacksmithing, because there are metals within the earth that require so much to actually use and purify that the smelting is 99% of it. In fact, without extraordinary knowledge in smelting, wood metal is just another rock. To the humans, it's just another rock, not to you. In fact, that's what you're doing right now. And you're doing it with Tror. Tror is of your clan. He is angry and dour. He hates being here. Although, like all dwarves, he is a smith, he is a smelter, he is a miner, but he was part of the Hearthguard. But he quit. He quit when Hawk quit. There was an orcish incursion into your lands. In fact, the whole northern cavern was taken, which is where you all used to live. Hawk's wife, which was the last female member of the whole clan, was slain. He left the Hearthguard out of disgust. No one quite understands why except for him. When he did, Tror quit. For no other reason than Hawk is kin, and he followed his kin. He did not want to. He totally resents Hawk, but just without hesitation, quit the Hearthguard as well. Now he is here with you, and you are smelting wood metal, which is the most noxious, awful thing that you can possibly do. Basically, you take rock that you know has it in it, you combine this rock in this huge vat, which you have already done. You've already filled up the vat with rocks, And then you take these salts that you have prepared beforehand and you pour it in, and then you add water, and the salts and the rocks start to interact. But then there's the main part of the process. There are these huge glass rods that go into this pit, and both of you stand on this machine that's almost like a galley's rowing machine.
Stirring.
Not stirring it, but there is this wheel and this magnet array. And this is just dwarven smelting technology. And there are copper wires running from this magnet to these glass rods that go into this pit. And as you do this rowing, it turns the magnets and everything sparks. And all of a sudden, this weird thing starts to happen in the pit where the rock breaks down. And on one of the glass tubes, metal starts to form on it. And then you take out the glass rod and you melt the glass, and the metal stays behind, and then you have wood metal. You're right above the pit, rowing. The smell of it is just disgusting. Noxious fumes are coming in, you're rowing. You are worth so much more than this. You are second in line to the throne of the High King, which would mean that you are a High Duke, you are an Archduke. But you are smelting wood metal.
Dirty work.
Tor just kind of looks at you and says nothing, but that's just him. He rarely speaks, and when he does, it's usually angry, it's usually fighting words. And he just turns it harder, and he hates being there, but he's just putting himself into the task to get out his anger. You tire before he does. And you step off the machine that's right above this pit. And you step off just to stretch, and you're going to get back on in a moment. You should not be here at all. The truth is that your older brother, Dwalthir, has left on his quest. The reason why you have stayed behind is only for one reason, and that is you are second in line. They don't want you and your older brother going on any one mission together. In all other ways, you would have gone with them. The only members of your clan that are left are those that are on the outs. Dwarves are peculiar. There is a pecking order. Everyone left behind was left behind for a reason. Tror is angry and doesn't speak, and they decided that they would rather just leave him behind than have him.
And I'm his interpreter.
Exactly. Fate. Eggmon was left behind because he is more of a scholar and spends more time with books than anything else. Alias, he avoids work, he sings, he drinks, and he likes to fire his crossbow.
While he's drinking and singing.
He's frequently found passed out in hallways. He dishonors his clan. And he has been left behind for that reason, even though he is quite fell with his crossbow.
He's allowed.
Hawk has been left behind. Herc has been left behind. Hawk is fell. He is a fell warrior who is part of the Hearthguard. He remains outside the Orcish Gate, which is the gate to the west, and kills bad things in the forest, but he has been left behind because he is on his own private mission, and Dwalthir does not particularly like him. Herc has been left behind because Herc is Herc. Herc is timid, unsure of himself, spends most of his time with animals, which is unheard of amongst the dwarves. Have no idea why anyone would spend any kind of time with animals that they don't have to. There is Slackjaw. And Slackjaw is another one of those dwarves who has found kind of a place, but is considered off and strange. He too is doing something the dwarves should not be doing right now. You know that he has found a workshop where toys used to be made when there was trade with humans and Aurelians and everyone else, because wood metal is used with toys. He spends all of his time there, and you suspect that he might be up to no good. You honestly think that Slackjaw might be doing some things that could dishonor your clan, but you can't quite put your finger on it. It's just an intuition.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some strange things and some strange characters that have been about, and you think he might have something to do with it, but there's not enough information for you to confront him.
Would I also think maybe he's the eyes and ears for Dwalfer while he's gone?
You don't think so. You think the eyes and ears of Dwalfer while he's gone is you.
Okay.
You are close to your brother. You are an honorable dwarf,
Okay.
which is unlike everyone else who's been left behind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, the truth is that you sense that your kin have not been given enough credit. That you have the blood of the High Kings within you. And the truth is that amongst the High Kings were scholars. There were those who spoke with the ravens. There were all of these people.
Yeah.
And they all had a place. And you sense that it is where you are that has made them obsolete or unloved rather than who they are. And you think, no, we have the blood of the High Kings within us. They all belong. It is our fault that we have come to this. But amongst all of them, all dwarves look up to you as they look up to your brother. You are not disrespected. Maybe by the king himself, but by no other.
Why was Leaf left behind?
Leaf. Roll 20-sided.
4.
Leaf is the forgotten. And the reason for that is he spends none of his time with the clan. Leaf spends all of his time at the sacristy. As you all know, back in your former kingdom of Evil Doom, there was this gigantic sacristy with this gigantic throne made out of the most precious metals and gems. And it is where Evil would sit when he came in, and this happened 5 times. Now that you are here, another sacristy has been built with a steel throne, which is, to a dwarf, that's almost an insult. But the sacristy has all of the relics that have been left behind, and as a matter of fact, there is an ancient war hammer, a rune hammer. It is one of the few relics that made it. Everyone knows what a rune hammer is. There were these things called rune priests, and a very powerful rune priest would wield a rune hammer and call the runes on the hammer. It was inscribed with runes. It would call the rune on the war hammer, and it would give power to that priest, and it would help allies and hurt foes, and would energize the weapon. And again, this is not magic. This is just faith and craftsmanship. But these were powerful people that could end battles on their own. There's one left. But that is where he always is. He is always with the priest doing menial tasks. So he is not a priest. He's not a high priest. He does menial tasks at the sacristy. And he is simply forgotten. However, something happens. Roll 20. 4. The dice always know. You are thinking of all this and you look up and you see Tor like this, and you hear a like, what on earth could that be? And then you realize that Tror, he is so angry and embittered about something that he is throwing himself into this machine, and the strength that he's putting into it is more than the both of you usually put in together. He's not in a marathon, he's in a sprint, and he's just slamming it, slamming it, slamming it. And all of a sudden you're like, but where did that noise come from? And you look, and over here is the platform holding this whole contraption over the pit, and you see a crack. And when you see a crack, your eyes go wide, and then all of a sudden, crack! You hear it again, and the crack widens. And in fact, Thor kind of goes like this, and you realize he doesn't even notice.
Yeah, I'd yell out to him to stop.
You yell out, roll 20-sided.
9.
You realize that he's in some kind of angry trance. He does not hear you. Crack! It widens even more. You realize if this happens again, he's going into the pit.
Okay, I dive for him. I try to grab him. Just try to get in his way.
One fate as you go. Roll 20.
14.
You grab him. You're on the lip of the pit. You grab him, and just as you do, the whole thing falls into the pit. This is to see if both of you go in together. You're not about to let go of him as he falls into the pit. You know it's just his death. Roll 20-sided to see if you go in too. You want a number.
1.
Nice.
Good.
Put down strength experience and charisma experience, 1 fate. You pull him, his boots go in, and you pull him out of the pit. And the whole thing just collapses. Both of you are covered in this just noxious, alkaline, salty mixture that was in the pit. And the wood metal smelting machine is no more. And Thor is just, he looks at, what happened? And he looks at you, and he just sort of like, he realizes what happened, that he did this. And he looks at you, and you just see him overcome with shame, but just for a heartbeat. And then it just turns to anger again, and he just looks down. And he stands and leaves. But he turns once, right before he exits, and he looks at you, and he still says nothing, but he bows. And then he turns and he exits. And that is all the thanks you will get from him.
Okay.
But it is broken. This is a big deal. Now, wood metal is looked down upon by the dwarves, but it's really common. So everything is made of wood metal, because even steel is rare here. And the smelting machine is normal.
Do we have other smelting machines, or is it the only one?
It is the only one, and this was made by artisans long dead.
Okay. Yeah, so that's a huge blow.
This is something that the king should probably know about. Keep in mind, the forge, this is the heart of the kingdom.
Right.
As a matter of fact, roll 20-sided one more time. You are not alone.
17.
Okay, so this forge, so this is where wood metal is made, but there is another whole part where steel is forged, and we have these intensely powerful forge fires that are always going day and night, and there's poor dwarves that man this and make sure that it's going. And there's dwarves all over the place, only if only to keep these fires hot. So there's perhaps 5 other dwarves, and they look over, they are all kind of in shock as to what happened, but they're not judging you. They're just looking at this machine like, yet again another misfortune has come to us. And one of them comes over to you. You've only seen him once before. His name is Jarl. He actually bows. He says, "My lord, what has happened?"
Roar got extremely angry and broke the smelter.
On purpose?
He's got problems. I don't think so, but he was in a rage trance.
The dwarf changes expression, and he nods, and he goes back to the other dwarves, and they cluster around him, and he speaks to them, and then the eyes kind of go like this and look at you, and you see all the dwarven eyes look at you like, and you know that this will get out very soon, and the entire kingdom will know by the end of the day.
How close is the king? Can I decide to go speak to the king?
You stand up and dust yourself off and head to the throne room. Slackjaw, roll 20-sided. You have had an interesting time. Long ago, you found one of the workshops that the ancient toy makers made. And as a matter of fact, it was completely walled up. It was completely by accident that you found it. Roll 20-sided.
Another 4.
You were carrying a huge load. It was actually heavier than you should have been carrying, of just straight wood metal ore. You used to work in the foundry as well, and you were carrying it, and your mind was elsewhere because these kind of tasks do not occupy you, and you actually fell against the wall, and you hurt yourself. Roll 20-sided one more time.
Another 4.
Outstanding. You hurt your foot to the point where you walk with a limp. You're capable of running, you're capable of doing everything, but you have a noticeable limp.
Did you know I roll very low on my agility, dex, and stamina? I got 1 on my stamina.
The dice always know. But the thing is that when you fell, you went against the wall and you scraped the wall and you realized that there was dwarven plaster over a door. Oh, you had to figure that one out. You went and you dropped off the ore, and that was the last time you were ever in the forge. You went straight back, you took all the plaster off the door, and you opened it. Roll 20-sided again.
13.
You came into a place of wonder. It was actually lit. There are windows to the outside and a cliff face, so you're perhaps 100 feet off the ground, so there's no chance of anyone even climbing up to these windows, but these windows look out over sky, and you see this amazing view of the Fey forests and the mountains on the other side. It's the most beautiful view you've ever had, but this workshop is filled with light, and you realize that it is a toy maker's workshop. And it was instantly magical to you. There was actually even a toy. It was a jester about this high, and it was broken. And you took this jester apart and put it back together again, and took it apart and put it back together again, and it just consumed you. The gears, it was like the whole thing is like a Swiss watch, except in the heart. The heart and the head. And the heart and the head were different because the heart had a liquid vial with a heart in it. And the mind had all the gears were glowing with different colors. And soon you found out that there are gems, huge racks of gems in the workshop, all of them glowing with a different color. And when you touched a gem to one of these gears, it glowed brighter. And you realized that you had to repair some of those gears and give it more of what was in the gem. You realized that you had to do this, you had to do that. And all of a sudden the jester came alive. Hello there, how are you? And you were just shocked.
Well, what have we here? It speaks.
I am the king's jester.
The king's jester. Wow.
I will march to war. And the jester walks across, like almost goose stepping. He walks across and then he comes back, and then he bows again.
Which king do you serve?
I serve the Dwarven King.
Ah, yes, there's been a few. Which one?
The Dwarven King of the Undermountain.
The Undermountain. That was a long time ago. Well,
what game do you want to play with the jester?
Ooh.
This continues for hours and hours and hours, and you are entranced with this thing. And you decide, you tear apart this workshop, and you actually find another one of these things that's only half completed. Like they were done with half of it and then just left. And it's a piper, and it's even shorter. And right next to the piper, you found one of those vials. You found in the heart of the jester. But there was a spider. I'm like, interesting. I bet this goes in the jester, in the piper. So you put this piper together, and he was dressed in all these gay colors, and he had his pipes. And you put the violin, and this piper came alive as well. Roll 20-sided.
12.
But it was a little different. The piper came alive,
Hey there.
and its eyes.
What's your name?
Wait! And this piper jumps to the table and starts to look around, just tearing things apart.
Easy.
Wait!
Whoa.
Until finally,
Come back here.
the thing grabs you go after it just as it brings up a wood metal cutter. But not like scissors, like a scalpel.
Oh, what are you
And you're like,
doing there?
you kind of back up a little bit and it says, I trap, I hide, and I kill. I trap, I hide, and I kill.
No killing.
Ha!
No hiding.
And it starts to play on the pipes.
I start chasing after it.
And it runs underneath. And they're like, I trap, I hide, and I kill. And you run. And
I grab a cloth.
I trap, I hide, and I kill.
Throw a cloth over it to try and
Roll 20-sided. This is really important.
6.
Fantastic. You try to throw a tarp over it, completely miss. You miss completely, and then you see your little jester go, "Do you want to play with me?" And the thing runs the jester. Whoosh! Roll 20-sided.
12.
Annihilates the jester. The jester falls to the ground. His head spins, and then Kevin goes, "I trap, and I kill."
No killing! No killing!
And it, boom! It bolts the door, throws open the door, and then it looks at you and says, "Bye-bye, I'll see you later."
Do not go out there!
Gone. Roll 20-sided.
No. 10.
This little mad piper becomes part of the lore of the kingdom. No one knows where it came from or really what it is. No one's ever gotten a good look at it, you don't think, because if they did, they know it was a toy that's gone mad. This thing hides, lays like ridiculous childish traps, and tries to attack dwarves. The only thing is dwarves are really powerful, and this thing is like this high off the ground. It has hurt people, okay? But the thing is, it has gained a cloak, so it can hide in shadows and hide its colors. So it just travels around the shadows with this cloak, with this dagger, this little maniacal toy. You know, I hide, I kill. I hide, I kill. I trap. And every once in a while you hear it, but to you it's very merry. It's like, hello, hello, I hide, I trap, and I kill. And you're like, where is it, where is it? And then you'll hear it scurry off.
Cheeky little bastard.
And you've realized that what you did was you created a spider in a toy. And the spider somehow looks at you as mommy, doesn't hurt you, but to everyone else is prey. And it can't make webs or anything like that, but it makes the approximations of them. In fact, the reason why you think this is a spider toy is because you see a spider web made out of twine in one of the corners, and you're like, I know.
Created the cryptid of Taffy.
And as a matter of fact, within the web, you see little rocks, little pebbles, like a spider's eggs.
Okay.
And you realize that all of the instincts of this spider have been combined with the instincts of a toy piper. And you've created a toy, literally a mad piper, and nobody can find this thing. And, you know, dwarves are kind of, their thing is not looking in small places and finding mad toys, especially ones that are adept at hiding and trapping. So this thing has been out there for a long time, and everyone knows about it. Nobody knows what the hell it is.
Has anyone placed blame on you yet?
No, never. Every once in a while, your brother looks at you, and you have no idea why, but it's like he's onto you somehow. And you just don't understand because he doesn't know about the workshop. He doesn't know where you've gone. He just knows that you've disappeared from your duties and you're doing something else. But he's never confronted you. But every time he looks at you, he just kind of...
So I want to also scour the workshop to see if there are any other spiders or strange little parts in the island. So if there's anything else.
Roll 20-sided.
18.
There is not, but you do one thing. A baby goat died of a disease, so it was not eaten. And you took its heart, and you found what you think was the fluid they put in these vials, and you found empty vials. And you took the heart of the baby goat, and you put it in a vial, and you put it in another toy. It was only a quarter completed, but then you completed. And this toy was the little dairy girl. It's a human girl dressed in a cow costume. You call it LDG for little dairy girl. And you put this heart in LDG, and this puppet came alive. It follows you everywhere except if you don't want it to follow you. And it always tries to eat your clothes. And it just goes... with this little cute face. And then it looks at your pants and this weird look comes over it and tries...
No. Push it back.
Can you get that heart for me?
He probably would have had to roll 20-sided, so you know something's up too.
16.
In fact, he did. He kind of came up to you and asked you some weird questions. You know that baby goat that died? You're not going to eat it, right? And like, your tears are running down your face. You're like, I really love that baby. Why do you ask?
I'll put it to rest. Don't you worry. I know this just tears you up, so
Thank you.
I'll take care of it.
It's truly hard. There was so much he had going for him.
I'll make sure that it gets the rest it deserves.
Thank you. But don't, I mean, I know we love goat, but he was diseased. Don't eat him.
But he can finally be at rest for now.
Thank you.
To fate. And now you have LDG. And LDG mainly stays in the workshop because you're afraid to let her out. But every time you come in, she just comes to the middle of the floor. Moo. Just very earnestly, like she's telling you something really profound. Moo. And then like the weird look. And she'll go to all fours and kind of climb over to you and try to eat the laces off your boots. No. And you kind of like LDG is like on a whole different level than the Mad Piper. And you kind of like LDG a little bit more.
Okay.
But this has consumed your time. Now you are a dwarf. You have spent time in the foundry. And you are working with metal all of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I want you to roll 20-sided. This is for your skill in wood metal work.
16.
Okay, I want you to put 10th level in wood metal working. I want you to put 4th level in toy making. You can actually make them, but the finer points are still a little beyond you. So you have created works of absolute wonder that you could, if there were human kingdoms about, you could sell these for a fortune to kings and princes, and it would just be like an heirloom of the kingdom. But there are no humans that you are in contact with. So what you do is useless, which is why this whole thing's been plastered up and dwarves have focused on other things. Roll 27. You are the forgotten one.
3.
The dice always know. You have always been attracted to the sacristy. There's something profoundly spiritual about you, which is rare for dwarves, rare for any of the sentient creatures except perhaps elves. The wooden throne fascinates you, and the fact that there is an even greater, bigger throne in a lost kingdom that your god once sat in consumes you. You want to touch it. You love the writings. Every word that Ivul has ever spoken while he's been with your people has been written down, and you pore over these. The priests are all of the current royal house, and they are not like you. It's almost like they're political animals. They have been given their position by the king. They're the king's relatives, and they are very wealthy. None of the things that they're supposed to do, they are doing. Now, of course, they go through the ceremonies, and when it's time to celebrate something, they're there. But you know from your writings that a priest is all about the runes. The runes are how the priest communicates with Ivul. The runes are what calls to the priest, and how the priest calls to Ivul. And the priest is meant to be in battle. The priest is meant to not to meant wear vestments of gold. The priest is meant to be in battle with their people, to help, to look at weapons and to make them holy and sacred to Ivul, to be in battle, to be an example. And you think that the priesthood has gone in a totally different direction than it should. And the evidence that you have of this is the last remaining rune hammer, which is on the throne. And when the priests aren't looking, you frequently take it down. It is the greatest thing that you've ever seen. It is every square inch of it has been engraved and is ornate. It is of the dwarven metals. It is heavy. I mean, really, really heavy. The metals that dwarves use are heavier than lead. So this is an entire warhammer, balanced perfectly. So this part of it is made of the lighter metals. This is made of the heaviest. So it has perfect balance, and it has runes inscribed all over it. And you know that a rune priest is supposed to shout out the runes to activate them to bring power. You are fascinated by this. Roll 20-sided.
19.
You have a right to be there because of who you are. You are of the royal house of High Kings. They cannot deny you. But they resent you utterly. And as a matter of fact, they try to make fun of you. One time it backfired on them. The main priest, his name is Fror, and his two attendants or his relatives. They brought you over to this table, and the table has a lip, almost like something that you would find on a stove. It is completely filled with stone runes. And they bring you over and they say, if you are a rune priest, if you think you should be here, then the runes should speak to you. If the runes do not speak to you, you should not be here, and you should go of your own honor, for you do not belong.
I go up to the runes and listen.
Roll 20-sided.
18.
You go up to the runes, and for some reason, it just feels right to put your hands on the edges and to look over them. And almost out of instinct, you just say, evil. 9 of the runes light. Not the stone, but the rune inside the stone lights with an orange light. 9 of them, and the priests jump back like they've never seen this before. And they look at you, and they take one more step back. And you look down and you see 9 of these runes. There are 26. 9 of them have lit.
I go and grab the runes.
You grab the runes, fate. And as you do, you look up at these priests, and they say absolutely nothing. And there's a reason for that. Because if the runes speak to you, they are yours. And if you did not take them, he was under honor to tell you to take them. So there's nothing to say to you. And you take these runes, all 9 of them, and you just look at these priests, and that is the last time they ever give you a hard time. In fact, they just leave you alone at that point, and all of these menial tasks that you had end. Because the runes have spoken to you when they did not speak to them. You are the true rune priest here. As a matter of fact, you start to take an active part in all of the ceremonies. When all of the dwarven holidays come, whenever there is something to do, you go, and you just do what you wish to do, and you are never gainsaid, ever. You can tell that they look upon you with something approaching awe, but also they just completely despise you. But there's nothing they can do about it, because you are the real deal. And dwarves, for all their faults, are honorable and true, and they know that since you're the real deal, they are not interfering with you. And you just sort of become whatever you want to be in the kingdom, because you are the only true priest. Roll 20-sided.
14.
There's something else that you know how to do with the runes. Now, these runes that you have are runes of power. They're relics from a different age. But there are just rune stones that are common. But they're not so common. Because when you throw the runes, it means something totally different. Because you have done ceremonies over a different set of runes, all 26. And you've done ceremonies over them, you have made them, which is one of your abilities, you have made them sacred. So they were just made by craftsmen for you, but they are now sacred, and they are your runes, and you have 26 of them. But these are your divination runes, as opposed to your runes of power. The glowing runes, when you throw those, you have access to things that other dwarves know not of. The divination runes, you throw them down, and you can tell things, like tarot cards and stuff. Right? So these divination runes you use all the time, and you become fairly adept at telling things. You throw the runes and you see something horrible. You see that things have happened. Your kin are affected. Like the runes just say kin. Those closest to you, something important has happened. Something life-changing has happened and is about to happen. It is good that you seek out your kin now.
I go look for my kin.
Roll 20-sided one more time.
8.
And you run into him, and he looks a bit flustered, and he smells really bad. He smells just like chemicals, And he looks at you, and you haven't seen him in a while, but for some reason when you see him, it quiets your soul. Like, he's just a calming presence. He's a dwarf, so his presence is strong, not to be messed with, warrior, but calming. There's a spiritual depth to him that is just unmistakable. And you see him, he has purpose in his eyes, but you see he does as well.
I asked him what's wrong.
Thor broke the smelter. We've got to go talk to the king. Come with me.
And unfortunately, you know that is not it. Herc, roll 20-sided.
16.
You know exactly where the Ravenloft is.
Okay.
You know this already, but this whole kingdom was built on the fact that there are these plateaus that can not be accessed from climbing up the mountain. But since this dwarven kingdom is underground, you just built stairs to all of these plateaus, and that's where all of your cattle and livestock are, and they're perfectly safe. One of the other things that's on the surface is this long tower. And the tower goes up story after story after story, and it ends in a Ravenloft, which is not full of cages, but rather just perches. So it looks like trapezes. The whole thing is just trapezes coming from the ceiling because the ravens just land on the trapeze. They are never trapped. They do not belong to you. They come at their leisure and they stay, and they can hang out here as they wish. And sometimes your raven does. But you mount the stairs, and as always, it is very dangerous because it's just hasn't been cleaned except the parts that you have cleaned, but there's a lot of it, so there is still a lot to go. It's very slimy and dirty, but you finally get to the top. Roll 20-sided.
6.
Your raven is not there. And you look at it, and first you're blinded with light because the whole thing's open. And there's a wind blowing through it. And you kind of look around. You know that your raven is not here because you think you just would have sensed it. But you do see another presence, and at first you're almost like scared of it. You see what looks like an eagle. Eagles are about yay high off the ground. I don't know if you've ever seen an eagle, but they're gigantic. They're about your size. And it's like you see this eagle resting on a perch, but then it flutters its wings and you realize it's no eagle. This is a raven. Dang.
Hello, good sir. I was told that I should come and seek a message from you.
Step forward!
Look,
I have doom!
that is a concerning sentence, but he steps up.
You step up, and it's almost like his words compel you. And you step forward, and you see this raven, and you know that this raven has been awakened by a far more ancient soul than yours. And you just see the face has an expression on it, almost like a human face, and you see concern, like it is like urgency. Step forward! I have doom! Listen! A dwarf stumbled from the winds of ever snow, circling high, raven eyes, see and fly to meet. The dwarf falls, red mail, chipped helm, soon his life complete. As he spoke his last, raven ears to dying lips did bow. I am Boli of Clan Kundarak, said he, and soon my god to meet. I place upon you doom, raven friend, so my kin will know. To the cattle delve you will fly, through rain, snow, or sleet. To my kin tell this tale, my comrades alive, but laid low, imprisoned in the ever snow, their fate to meet. To my kin, to Clan Kundarak, to arms, for death to sow. Issue to save your kin, for victory or defeat. The doom has left me, but now the doom is upon you. Do you understand, dwarf?
Yes. Yes, I do.
The raven bows.
Do you need anything? You have flown far, I'm sure.
My mission is fulfilled. I go. The raven spreads its gigantic wings, woof, 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 and flies off. And you have met Grey Wing. And as you think upon it, you know it could be no other creature. And this is a creature of legend, a creature of power, and very old. Grey Wing's eyes, it is said, see all. And just for meeting Grey Wing, I want you to put a 5 in a circle on your paper, and that's 5 fate. Roll for your calling level, and we're going to add to it.
16.
Okay, so that's a 16, but you did roll 2 double 20s earlier. Okay, so that's, I'm going to factor that into the account. I am going to say you are calling level 12. Okay, that is godlike ability.
And yet my Wolverine hates me.
To be fair, your Wolverine hates just about
To be fair, he's an asshole.
It is Wolverine.
Yeah.
And as the raven leaves, all of a sudden you feel something creep upon you. Almost like when you did the earth meld, it comes up from the ground, but it is a different feeling. It is almost like an icy feeling. And it just creeps over you, over your skin and through your soul, and you realize a doom has been placed upon you. That this message that the raven has said needs to go to other ears. That this is something that you cannot escape. Your kin must know. Now, Bali, when he said Bali of Clan Kundarek,
That's awesome.
you know Bali. He's one of the ones that left with Dwaithir. So, not only do you know him, you've spent your whole life with him and he's in your clan, and you know that he is dead, and you are shocked. Not only dead, but helm chipped, mail rent. Do you know what it takes to chip a dwarven helm? Do you know what it takes to rent dwarven mail?
I think my feet are already moving down the tower. And I've done this time and time again, but I think I'm just ruminating on this as we go, and suddenly realizing that this message has come to me, the lowest of our clan, the worst dwarf here, and there's just this moment of, really, it's come to me. That's constantly
Roll 27, this is important.
14.
Being who you are, I'm going to give you this even with a 14. As you think that, and you're going down the stairs, something really strange happens. It's almost like you have a living daydream that is complete. And what I mean by complete is, it's like what you see totally changes. Like you just step from this world into this world. And what you see instead of this dirty tower is a tower that is shining clean, with tapestries lining the staircase as you go down. But it's not you going down the stairs. You see 4 dwarves going down the stairs, not dressed in mail and armor, but dressed in fine robes. And they're all very old, and you can tell that they're men of respect. And you can also tell that they do what you do. That they are callers, and they have received a message as you have, and they go to the king. And you're shocked because these men, these dwarves, do what you do, yet they are important. And just a moment ago, you were ruminating on your humility, and all of a sudden, boom, this image of nobility comes into your mind, but then boom, it's gone, and you're in this filthy stairway going down, and you actually slip and fall, get back up and keep going down, and you are just, nothing like that has ever happened to you before. Roll 20-sided one more time.
6.
Roll 20, roll 20.
9.
16.
You head to the throne room as you speak, and you're worried because he's talking of this machine, this contraption, but you know that is not what happened. There is something far more serious at foot here. Yet, you go with him, all the while thinking of what he could be. And soon you come to the throne room. Well, actually come to the antechamber of the throne room. In spite of the fact that